Hi, this is Dr. Mark Santa, and welcome to this episode of Level Up. This is the podcast that connects you with the people, the ideas, the strategies that help you bring your practice to the next level. And today I am absolutely thrilled to have with us the team from PCC Practice Builder. If you haven't heard about it, you're going to. You're going to learn some great stuff about digital marketing for your practice. I have with me Mike Abrams and Randy Rossler. Guys, welcome to the podcast. Thanks for being with
Thank
me.
you. Thank you,
Yeah,
Mark.
yeah, thanks for having us.
All right, thank you. You guys are, I always call you both when I refer to you as the grown-ups in the digital marketing room because we're about the same age. And anytime I speak to, somebody who's talking about digital marketing, they're doing it from their dorm room on their laptop. And
Right.
you guys have an amazing, a real company, right? That has a great track record in digital marketing. You're going to share some of your insights with us. And Randy, give us a little bit of an intro, a little bit of background, how you found yourself into the digital marketing space.
Yeah. Well, I've been doing this a little bit over 12 years. It's been a fun journey helping, you know, doctors that are great clinicians, but not so great at practice management or marketing, but smart enough to recognize that they need help in that area so they could stick with their unique abilities and outsource that other stuff. So we've helped a lot of small and medium-sized practices. Some of them are much larger to kind of get out of their own way and let somebody else do it for them. It's you mentioned like some guys are working on their laptop. So I have a word for that, or two words called basement Bob. You got a guy named Bob
Yes.
who's working out of his basement, and he's your digital marketing guy. And he could do, he might actually create a decent looking website, but even if it's a beautiful website, that in itself is not going to bring you new patients in the door. So,
So
we
true.
help them create, there's a big difference between a website and a web presence. And so
Yeah.
web presence is all the bells and whistles important. And then, bringing it to the chiropractic world when it talks about things like regenerative medicine, where
Yep.
them are wannabes. So we help them, there's ways to navigate and promote regenerative medicine in a compliant way that really help you get some traction.
That's
So
right. And if you don't do it right, you get in big trouble, right?
Google,
Absolutely.
don't mess with the 800-pound gorilla in the room.
Yeah,
Amen.
Google
Mike,
doesn't like it.
hey, Mike, same question. How'd you find yourself in digital marketing?
So, actually, Randy and I have known each other for many years. I helped him with a product called AdZoo, which was ahead of their time, doing a kind of door to door with small businesses, getting them to have a website and a web presence at a time when it wasn't very popular. So, and about a little over a year ago, Randy came to me and said, you know, what I've been doing for all these years, well, we're expanding and we're growing and we need some help. You're willing to help? And I was like, yeah, I'm ready to join you again. And so I jumped back in, and I've been a technical recruiter most of my career. So my knowledge of technology has always been strong. And my philosophy has always been the same. It's not about me, it's about helping that person find a new job, get more patients. It's the same type of sale. So,
Absolutely. Well, it's great that the team is back together again. That's cool.
yeah.
So tell us a little bit about why it's important for chiropractors to have this web presence, as Randy mentioned, and that it is way more than a website. I know there's docs out there who
Yeah.
maybe did a website a decade ago
Right.
or more.
Yeah.
And this game has changed tremendous. It changes honestly every month, it sounds like,
Right.
man.
Right.
But
Well, it's Amazon's fault because everybody's a customer of Amazon and everything works it's so quick. Everything works, every link, this and that. So they've spoiled us. So
right,
nowadays, if you're a great clinician, you're a great chiropractor, but you have an old, outdated website. That movie with Tom Cruise where he walked in the room, she's like, "Shut up, you had me at hello." Well,
right.
you could lose them at hello because they didn't like the way you looked.
Oh yeah.
First impressions. really are important. So not just in person, but also online. So we make them look visible online, they look credible online, make good first impressions, and highlight the things that make the practice unique, whether it be the doctor themselves and or the services that they do. So that's a big part of it is just making them
And
visible. Yeah.
yeah, and if I could add that many of the websites that we see are built from the doctor's perspective and not the patient who's
Yeah.
looking.
Yes.
So, um, we look at thousands of websites, and often we'll find chiropractic care is big as life. And if you ask 10 of my friends, what's chiropractic care? They think of one thing, adjustments.
Right.
And chiropractors are becoming your main provider of health across all disciplines. So
Mhm.
we want to help you be seen that way from the perspective of the patient, not your doctor.
Yeah, this is why this is not a DIY, do it yourself
Right.
venture. This is you want the pros, you want somebody who knows this and is able to give you that perspective. What interesting thought that many chiropractors actually don't think of their web presence as an asset. And I can tell you now, having uh, been coaching chiropractors for 30 years and have seen chiropractors now in the process of selling their practice, that your web presence adds value to the practice in terms of the sales. So how many patients you're attracting from that site, how engaging that site is, how up to date that site is, actually impacts the value of your practice.
No
Right.
doubt.
It's like adding a new bathroom and a new kitchen right before you sell your house.
Yeah.
You
Exactly.
didn't get to enjoy it, but someone else is going to pay more money for it.
You're right on.
So,
And you know what? It's not necessarily unique to chiropractic. I mean, uh,
Yes.
eh, marketing is the lifeblood of any business, whether you have a
right.
bagel bakery or an accountant, a podiatrist, or a chiropractor, you got to promote your business. And nowadays, everybody and their mother is married to their smartphone, so they're all looking online. So if you're not visible online, if you don't look good on a smartphone, that's an issue. And then add to that the whole AI revolution of what's happening as we speak, how quickly it's growing, and how it's changing the environment as far as Google search. I read an article you just did recently, Mark, about SEO and the new and when you factor in AI. So you're seeing an AI overview. If you're in that AI overview, that's a very good thing. But there's a lot of other practices that are not in there and that might have been seen on page one of Google, but now maybe they're pushed to page two or three of Google. And most people never make it to page two or three of Google. So you want to be in that spotlight. So there's ways to get ahead of that.
And if I could add, it's SEO or search engine optimization is old school now.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
it's answer engine optimization and generative engine optimization. So getting above the AI, getting so that your eyeballs are on your practice when someone says they're in pain and they're searching for the best back doctor near me.
Yeah, Mike, I hear that all the time where docs will say, we were getting regular patients all the time, all the time, all the time until about last year-ish, and then it dried up.
Right,
Well, the
Right.
reason it dried up is the game changed and you didn't. You
right.
stayed where
Right.
you are.
Yeah, that
Um,
funnel is not the same funnel as was
no,
in our day.
totally. Well, tell us a little bit about PCC Practice Builder and how you work with Kairos.
Sure. So, first of all, we've been doing this over 12 years. We started in podiatry. We brought over a lot of our best practices because there's a number of parallels between podiatrists and
For sure.
chiropractors. So we've grown as a company from a handful of us, 12 years ago to just under 60 people now. So, like you said, we're a real company. We're not Basement Bob, as mentioned before, but we're
No,
not a huge company. And one of our claims to fame is that we have over 90% customer retention rate.
it's
And a lot
awesome.
of our customers were, spending somewhere between nothing and next to nothing on their web presence.
Yep.
hosting a website for $100 a month and nothing was coming of it, you know. And then there's others in the chiropractic space in particular where they're actually doing okay, but they're spending a small fortune. They're spending, you know, ten to $25,000 a month. And when we take a closer look and we do a web strategy session, we have our team really take a look under the hood. We notice that they're doing okay over here, over there, but they're fragmented. They have one company doing content, another one's doing social media, another
Right.
one's hosting a website. A little
And they
bit
all blame each other, by the way, when things don't work.
Right, right, exactly. Well,
Right.
that's a great point. They blame each other. So who's accountable for what? And along the way, they're paying really exorbitant costs for, management fees, as they call it, you know,
Yeah.
into the thousands of dollars a month. So, you know, where we position ourselves, we have I like to say that we have the quality of a Mercedes-Benz or Lexus level of service at the price of a Honda Accord. I've had some gurus in the industries come up to me and say, Randy, based on the level of service you provide, why don't you charge more? And my analogy normally is that, you know, because we serve clinicians, you know, they were trained as clinicians, not as marketers. And so, you know, if you have a house in Miami and you think it's worth $1 million, quite frankly, it's really only worth what the market will bear. And in
Right.
the chiropractic and podiatry, you know, medical arenas where they're not trained to do that much marketing, they don't have your knowledge about this area, so they want it, but they never, you know, if they're spending somewhere between nothing and next to nothing. So we're in the middle, you know. People see the type of service that we do, it's an integrated service. So I said before, typically fragmented. So, you know, one of our programs, which corresponds with our name, which is called Practice Builder, it's basically, you know, beautiful new website built for them, theirs to keep. It's content, not once in a while, but every single week. And not
Mhm.
just one piece of content. It's a blog embedded with keywords and key phrases. And each blog has a link to what we call a companion article. And
Yeah.
that goes out every week. Um, but wait, there's more, you know, because, you know, unfortunately, chiropractors are pigeonholed like other doctors. So if somebody has a stiff neck, they come to the doctor, they get an adjustment, they think, oh, he's my neck guy. You know,
Right.
but that neck guy has an array of services that can really help you above and beyond just that neck pain. And so we do things called spot campaigns that are little mini ads built in that mixed in with the blogs and the articles. We have things like video libraries because the older generation, the seniors, were like my mom, who's 90 something. If something's up with her, I have to explain something to her multiple times. We have beautiful video libraries, chiropractic video libraries, explain what this condition is, you know. And then for the younger generation, I've grown up with YouTube and TikTok that like videos, you know. And
Yes.
responsive websites that are quick, that are visible, that look good online, that are easy to navigate. So again, Practice Builder is an integrated program website, content on a weekly basis, directories updated, Google Knowledge pages, social media, video libraries, all that together. So it's not 12 or three or four different companies doing it, it's one, you know.
All working in synergy, which is
Correct.
the big
Yep.
thing, right? They all
Yep.
support and build,
Yep.
stack one upon the next.
Right.
Uh,
What? Yeah. I mean, something else that I would add, and I think, a lot of us do the same things, right? A lot of digital marketing companies. One thing that we don't do is love you and leave you. So
yeah.
when you join our company, the first 30, 60, 90 days, you're assigned an account manager, and we meet with you every month and then quarterly thereafter.
And that's
But if you
huge.
need us, we're
Huge.
available. And it's really important because we don't want to go down the line and find out that someone was upset that they weren't seeing any return, and then they're upset. Well, we want only happy customers, and we'll bend over backwards, no pun intended,
Yeah.
to work with them.
I love
Right.
it.
Eh,
I know you have a brief slide deck. You want to run through some slides with us just so people can get a little visual picture of
Yep. And before you go,
PCT?
just the bullet points here just kind of outlines the basic of Practice Builder as far as
Yes.
helping get new patients from the web, reactivating existing patients. A lot of, you know, great doctors have, you know, poor reputation online. They need to boost that, you know, so we help
Mhm.
that. And that ties into all these things, by the way, tie into AI and what called zero-click search, which we could talk more about another day, but they're all things. And then to monetize laser, shockwave, et cetera. And of course, regenerative medicine. So there's a
Niches.
lot of wannabes that they want to bring medicine into their practice. They just don't know how to do it or how to market it in a compliant way. So we do all that through Practice Builder and our other programs.
Love it. Love it. Love
Right.
it.
So this is what this is here. So obviously everything has changed as the in this landscape, and as Randy mentioned, that PRP stem cells peptides therapy. Chiropractors are no longer just doing adjustments,
Right.
and so the word isn't out there yet for most. In our world, we see it every day, but that we're not seeing this outside of in the real world.
Yeah.
So, and searches are increasing every day for specifically for peptides. It's made, it's been mentioned in movies now, so it's mainstream. PRP stem cells.
Yeah.
So, we created a system because of this. So let me just, and it's just more about the growth that we're seeing, and that was in 2025. I'm sure we're going to see an increase this year, and it's going to bring in more revenue for chiropractors. These are cash based right now. So and a lot of doctors do have. Well, I have a website, and as we mentioned earlier, the website is just a brochure if it's not marketed.
Yes.
So, but it has to be engaging, and patients have to find, I'm in pain and I need to find the solution to my pain when I come to the website. And I don't want to hunt for it. And I don't want to go under services and then go under services of the services. And, it has to be front and center. And it's also, chiropractors have to learn how to talk about it, right? It's scary stuff. I'm telling you, as a non-doctor, if I'm in pain and someone says, yeah, I'm going to give you a shot, I'm like, and what is this voodoo, right? So the website has to help ease that fear when a patient comes to it. They have to be able to read about stem cells, and not scientific, easy, quick.
Yes.
I get it. How it uses my own. I use my own body to cure myself. Love it.
Mm-hmm.
Patients are looking for it. They are browsing, and they're not looking for a generalist. They're looking for an expert. So we need to get your website saying, "Hey, I am an expert. I have the right facility. It's clean. It's accessible."
And you guys have a very specific technique that you use with the microsite type of strategy, which I find very different from just about everything else that I see out there. How does that work? How does that help differentiate service, for example, PRP or regen or something, versus having it be in a drop-down menu where you got to go down, 12 different items to find it.
Right. So the issue is that Dr. Google has decided that, and maybe they own their own pharmaceutical company, I don't know, but they are saying that even though there's 30 years of stem cell and PRP and peptide knowledge and real, it's not experimental, it's not speculative, but they're calling it that. So Google ads cannot be run to attract the types of patients that you're looking for, because Dr. Google will shut that down. They'll shut down the website. They'll shut down the ad campaign. So what we've done, and I'll just kind of run through this to get to that slide. Just bear with me. Yeah. So what we've done is we've come up with a solution where we take your main site and we take and transfer all of the things that Google finds speculative to a microsite. And the microsite is separate from your main site, though they do look similar. they will not be able, Google will not be able to see that site.
Mm-hmm.
So we've created kind of an engine to now the microsite has no SEO value, so we have to drive people to it.
Mm-hmm.
So what we've come up with is, first we build the microsite. That's engine number one. Engine number two is our Patient Pro Connect email marketing system, but it doesn't just educate your patients about PRP and stem cells and that, it's educating them. At the same time, it's also asking for reviews. So it's building up your Google reviews, your 5-star reviews at the same time. And this goes out on a monthly basis because we don't want to spam them.
Yeah.
And we take your emails from your EHR system. We download that into a CRV, like a spreadsheet, send it over to our team. And those are very simple. I'll show you that in a minute. The third thing is we run Google ads to the main site. So we're starting to get the traffic of the ailments that you may want to treat with regenerative medicine. But you're also getting new patients, for the ailments that you're going to treat in general. So it may not be PRP or stem cells, but you're starting to see patient increasing, and you're also taking control of the type of patient you want to meet with.
Right.
And then the fourth thing is,
I just want to drop one thing.
Sure.
Is that, chiropractors, I mean, they recognize this. Their bread and butter is neck pain, back pain, knee
Yep.
pain, sciatica. So why not, let's drive traffic to that. And then, Mark, correct me if I'm wrong, but there's a sifting and sorting process. Once it come in, some could be candidates for regenerative medicine, some may not, for various reasons. So it's kind of,
But you got to get them in the door first, right?
that's exactly
Yeah.
right. That's my
Yeah.
point. Yeah.
and then Regen Medicine AI chatbot sits on the microsite, and it is filled with answers to patients' questions about regenerative PRP peptides. And the answer that they get is make an appointment, have a consultation, and then the doctor will get an email saying that this person is interested, so your staff can follow up and make that appointment. The other thing I would say is the chatbot lives in a silo. It doesn't go out to the web and start getting new information.
Right.
So it's a powerful multi-channel patient growth solution that we've created. So this is our practice builder. It's full website, weekly social media posts, cleaning up all your directory issues, name, address, and phone number.
I've seen the reports that you generate for our clients, and they have green lights and yellow lights and red lights, and they come back and it's like red light, red light, red light. Like they think everything is great, and their phone number is wrong on so many places or their address is wrong on so many places on the internet. They would have no idea. Zero idea.
Exactly right. They have no idea. And it's one of the things I call it a spoke in the wheel of Google. So when those directories are way off and the name, address, and phone number are off, it hurts your visibility and your credibility. So if let's say they have one location that's just got like 65 errors there, it's really bad. So we will clean that up. We normally, by the way, charge a small setup and a monthly fee for that. But as a courtesy to you and to Breakthrough Coaching, so if they have one location, we're going to waive that setup and waive the monthly on that. So we know
that's awesome.
They'll always be clean, not just initially, but ongoing.
Well, let me tell you guys, I don't want to rush by that because that's a big, 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 big deal. And I'm going to absolutely recommend, if you're listening to this, please, the contact information is right on our Alliance Partner page. Please contact the guys and get that for action item number one is to have that report generated for your practice, because you don't know what you don't know. And that's a heck of a service. Thank you guys for that. I appreciate it.
No problem. Good stuff.
All right. So, we look at this as a sidecar, the microsite. So you have your main site, your microsite. But we would talk about getting the main site done first, and we'll talk about the microsite if it's something that you want to do it right now. So it's not all or nothing. We want to find the best solution for you, and budget is important. So we're not here to spend all your money, at least not day one. Eventually, when you fall in love with us, we'll take you to a nicer place.
When it's generating a return,
Right.
right? Spend
Yeah.
all day,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I'll spend $1 to make three every day.
Yeah. One of the questions we often ask doctors is, for example, how many patients do you see on a weekly basis? And the next part of the question is, how many patients would you like to see on a weekly basis?
Yeah.
So a lot of doctors say, well, I see about 75 patients on a weekly basis. I'd like to see 100. But what's interesting, and there's no right or wrong, by the way, some doctors tell me they're seeing about 75 patients right now, and how many would like to see. They don't say 100. They say, I'd like to see about 60. What, but but they're smart. They said, but
What
it's the
is
type of patient that I want
the
to see.
right
I
kind of thing?
transition my
Exactly.
practice. I want to work. I don't want to be a slave to my business. I want to work on my business. I want to treat a
Yes.
certain type of patient. I want to use certain technologies and regen and this and that. And so we can help them do that. So there's no right or wrong, and want to get them from where they are to where they want to be. And so many of our customers are, with things like Google Ads. Google has an interesting statistic. They claim that for every dollar spent on Google Ads, you should see it $2 back.
Yeah,
That's
I
pretty good. If
agree.
you were in Vegas, that'd be a pretty good return. Our stats are actually much, much better than that. So our customers that are utilizing Google Ads, and not all of them do, not all of them want to or need to, but those that do are seeing somewhere on the low end of, 2 or 3 or 4%, but many of them are seeing 8 and 10 times return on investment, which is a
Mm,
very big deal. And that, type of return can have a direct impact on their practice, not only their practice, but their whole life.
yeah,
Go out to dinner with their family more often and go away on vacations more often because, quite frankly, they've got a more efficient, more profitable practice.
more predictable. Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
Exactly.
So,
Well, guys, we're coming up on our time
Yeah,
together.
all good, all good.
yeah.
And this has been wonderful. I enjoy every time I speak with you guys. I learn something new, and it's cool that you guys have the wonderful support because it's all about support. There's no practicing doc who has the time to put into this to keep up with it. It takes professionals, it takes a team to do this. And you guys have been there. You've been there. You've been doing it, and now you're doing it for Breakthrough Coaching members. And I truly, truly appreciate that.
And we're looking forward to. We're excited about working with you guys and your
Yeah.
clients. And so I would encourage them if they, somehow, reach out for a web strategy session. It costs you nothing. We invest a lot up front to take a close look. We have our team run those reports, and it's usually eye-opening. At the very least, to gain some clarity about where you stand relative to your competitors and where you want to be and how we might get there.
And as I mentioned, that's your number one action step. If you take away nothing else from this podcast, it's get that analysis done in your practice.
Yeah.
You don't know what you don't know. And when you see
Right.
whether you work with PCC or not, that's going to show you what whoever you've been working with is
Right.
doing or not doing
Keep them honest at the very least.
for your practice.
Yeah.
And so it's a heck of an offer, and I appreciate it. Hey, listen, I appreciate both of you guys very much,
Thank
Mike
you,
and
Mark.
Randy.
Appreciate
Thank
you.
you, Mark.
Thanks for being with us today. And this is Dr. Mark Santa going to sign off on this issue of Level Up. And I hope you all make today an exceptional day. Take care.